What's up everyone, John from ARTV. You're probably wondering what I'm wearing today. Long story short, I won a contest from someone who did a fan-made MCR music video for MCRX, the song Sleep. It got a lot of attention and traction. I entered the contest, and yeah, somehow I won it. And I was like, I have to wear this in a video, and I don't think I'll be talking about My Chemical Romance on the main channel anytime soon. So here I am, sitting in a jacket that is way too tight for me, talking about TOPxMM, 21 Pilots and MuteMath. The MuteMath sessions, there's a lot of different names for this project, but they're all accurate. So 21 Pilots, the duo that you're probably here for, and MuteMath, a band that I've really respected for a while because I've been listening to them for a decade now. That's just mind-blowing to think about. I've loved them since their track Spotlight came out. It was used in a movie soundtrack, and then I got into them even more whenever Odd Soul came out in 2011. Some more experimental alternative stuff. They add a lot of cool sounds in there, and while I wasn't that huge on their most recent album Vitals, I did like Parts of Change, their little remix EP that just dropped not too long ago at all. And obviously this one is an EP as well, but it is very different. It's not necessarily a reimagining or a remix EP or anything like that. It's just two bands going into the studio together and taking and kind of mashing their two sounds together, and this is what we have on our hands. Now I will say that I listened to it on Spotify first. I only heard the audio and I didn't know a ton about the project, and I think that that's what kept me from respecting it as much. Whenever I finally looked up the video on YouTube, they released the entire session for free downloads as well. That's very cool of them, especially right before Christmas for their fans. I will say that I gained a ton of respect. That's just kudos to them. They're in the studio together, rehearsing things for a day or two, and then just going in and knocking out these tracks, playing everything live. Everything that you see and hear on this, I will link it down below if you haven't heard it yet, everything is done live. And I did notice that I was like, okay, well, maybe he just lent some vocal parts whenever I was listening to it on Spotify. I was like, maybe Tyler Joseph just came in, laid down some extra vocals for MuteMath, but no, I realized that this was actually a full band effort on both of their parts. And you can hear some very distinct bass parts that are very new and nuanced, of course, as well. Some of these tracks have weird breaks in the middle of them, like Tear in My Heart, that take on a totally different vibe that I thought was really, really cool. That's something that I noticed almost instantly. It was something I was like, whoa, that was a total change of pace. They kind of threw in like a new wave meets R&B feel to the second half of that. The vocals are different, kind of a different pitch there, but they really, really pulled it off. So there's 5 songs on this EP, and honestly, they're all worth listening to. I'm not going to say that this EP is just mind-blowingly stellar or anything like that, but it is cool to see these two bands that I like a lot just kind of going into the studio jam session style, banging out these 5 tracks, and I love all of the little elements that they threw in there. I thought lead singer of MuteMath, Paul Meany, was doing a great job with his parts. He did a lot of the backing vocals, and that's something that I noticed when I was listening to the audio only and not watching the video of the session on YouTube. I was like, that doesn't sound like Tyler. And then I was like, you know, that backing part, it's just like, how would he have pulled that off? And then I started realizing, hey, this is a live session, read up on it a little bit more after I listened through it the first time, and I was like, oh, this makes sense. It was all actually played live in the studio because it totally sounds like it. Now, some of these tracks don't differ all that much, like Heavy Dirty Soul. There's definitely some new parts in there, some additional drumming from DK and MuteMath, which is really cool. I think it definitely added a little bit more spunk to it, but is it better than the original? I definitely don't want to say that for this or any of the tracks on this little EP that they've given us here. Now, I will say that there are some parts that kind of top it for me. Tear in My Heart, it has moments. I won't say overall that this is a better song, but I really like the fact that they added in those big synthesizers at the start of it. It's catchy as hell. Instead of the piano breaks like they used on the original, here they actually have those really lively synths that just bring this song to life. And like I already talked about, it's kind of a two-faced song. It's got multifaceted aspects of it as well, and I thoroughly enjoy it. Probably my favorite song on the entire EP. Heathens is the first song on the project, and it kind of sets the tone for what's to come. It starts off with this minute-long intro of just kind of ambient sounds, like a cello sweeping in from the guy from MuteMath, who normally is their guitarist, and that was a really cool aspect to it as well, just to show that they're like multi-talented with the instruments that they're playing. And if you kind of watch along, you can see like all of the different keyboards and stuff that they're switching between, and the drum kits and like a tambourine throwing it in there on some of those tracks. There's a lot of different instruments that go go into the making of this. But on that track that opens it up, Heathens in particular, it's one that you kind of see a different side to them because it opens up slow, and it is a very dark and eerie track, but I feel like the kind of waning guitars on this one add a different distorted sense of eeriness to it, if that makes sense. The final track that I've got to mention is Lane Boy. It's the only one that I haven't talked about yet, and it's the finale, the closer to this little EP. And for the most part, it does kind of feel like a cover. The guitar on it, that's cool. It kicks in and it gives it more of a grounded feel than more of like that studio processed feel. Not that I'm dissing Lane Boy in the first place. That was one of my favorite tracks on Blurry Face. You're definitely able to tell their chemistry there in the studio playing everything live, and then it's got a big chaotic outro that I just didn't expect. Everybody's kind of going crazy with their instruments instead of just like the drum fill that's going crazy on the outro. Just so many different instruments hitting you from all different places, and it's actually quite crazy in kind of the best way. I enjoyed this EP for what it is. Two bands that I really like coming together in the studio, making some songs, and giving it away for free. If this was a commercially released project, maybe I'd be a bit harsher on it, but it is really well done for being in a live setting, just having a couple of days to rehearse, and then putting together something that sounds this good. Now, like I said, I'm not necessarily going to be gravitating towards these over the originals, I don't think, but maybe from time to time it's something that I could see myself coming back to. At surface level, it's enjoyable, it's smooth, I can't be too critical of it because I like the songs that are here, it's just that I don't know how much I'll be replaying them. So overall, I'm going to go with a light 4 out of 5 for TOPxMM. It's available for free, so definitely grab it for yourself, linked in the description. Smash the like button on this review while you're here, and let me know what you thought of my jacket in the comments section down below. You can check out a recent 21 Pilots video here, or a year-end countdown that I've done right over here. Social media is linked in the description, and I will see you guys very soon right here on ARTV.